Thank you guys for coming to visit another episode of the D-Tub Show. Today is the three-man weave, not the four-corner fence. So Al, Pat, hi, hello, salutations, and greetings.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
What's up?
Statesman and countryman. Mm-hmm. Well, we haven't done this in a while. It's a lot in the news, so we're going to get to that. But real quick, before we do, around the horn, what are you boys drinking tonight? Al, I'll start with you.
We're doing Japanese whiskey this evening.
A man of good taste, Japanese whiskey. Good cigar with that too would go well. Patrick, yourself?
Jameson orange and the old Michelob Ultras.
Yeah, I hate that for you.
I know.
Not the Jameson orange, but the Mick Ultras. I hate that for you. As for myself, I am drinking more ABK6. As followers know, I like that cognac, but this is their white label. See that? It's their white label. It's like white Hennessy, but better, and it's a little cheaper. So with that, what we're going to do, kind of take these things in sequential order, because I think that's probably the best way to get us to where we really want to go. So first things first, a week ago, Indiana won the Big Ten. In a really tight game, a really good game. So, Pat, your impressions of that game, just in general, and maybe from each team's perspective.
Really was a. I mean, Signetti, he wins, right? Isn't that what he said? Google him.
Google it.
Yeah. I thought there were some. I mean, it's odd to me that we're in a place that where Indiana's a good football team, but they really are. They played very well. I felt like Ohio State was a little tentative at times. I don't know if they were baking in some of the excuses of some of the players weren't 100% fit, but
you thought they were tight.
Yeah, and I thought their offense wasn't that great, or the answer was Indiana's defense was just really good. I couldn't really tell. It was hard to tell. I thought there were moments where, it kind of felt like the Michigan game a year ago when I thought their offense kind of stuttered a little bit and they weren't really cohesive. And I don't know. It just didn't feel like what we'd seen from them all year long. Or the answer is Indiana's just better than them. But something tells me that's not right. I don't think that's exactly right, but we'll see. I mean, my impressions were, generally speaking, it was a old school Big Ten football fight, right? What was it, 13-10? Was that our final?
Yeah. The game was definitely in a phone booth.
Yeah, it was tight all the way through. We had a missed field goal. Ohio State missed a field goal when it mattered, and then of course Indiana got a stop when it mattered earlier in the game to keep them from getting points instead of taking a field goal earlier. So some decisions that Ryan Day is good at doing these things. He's kind of made his career on throwing his nuts out there and seeing if he can make something happen. And usually his team does, but they failed. So
the Phil Mickelson coaches.
Onward and upward. It doesn't matter because the playoffs are all that matters now. So
is it the Kevin Costner movie 10 Cup where he's always shooting for the green over the water and he misses it, but then at that point in the movie where he has to have it, he gets it right?
Yeah, on his 15th shot, he gets it over, and then it rolls in.
Once I don't really remember, but that you said that made me think of that. Al, what were your impressions of the game?
I think we're so bombarded by the media that it's hard not to believe what you read. So I think the natural state of people is to be surprised whenever Ohio State loses. But I definitely felt. I was surprised that by the time the game ended, I sat back and I thought, if these teams played 10 times, I think it'd be about a 5-5 type of situation. Like I think it is that close, and mostly because once again, quarterbacks that get pressure tend to not play very well.
Yeah.
If you get and I mean it's at all levels. You guys know I
every quarterback. I don't care if you're. Tom Brady, Julian saying you are.
Doesn't matter who you are. If you're
quarterback on your freshman team in high school, no one likes pressure.
No. So, and Indiana got some hands on him without really having to blitz a ton.
It seemed that way, yeah.
And because that's what was the key for Ohio State against Michigan, right? Was the only way Michigan had a shot at getting to him, and they still didn't, was sending everybody.
And if you pick it up, it's over.
It's over.
Yeah.
And so, and you know, I think I'm coming. It's taken me a bit. I think I'm coming around on Mendoza because he did make some plays.
Yeah.
You know, and he does make plays with his arms and legs. I'm not. He doesn't feel like a Heisman winner to me just because I grew up in like the Tim Brown, Barry Sanders era. But Indiana deserves their props, man.
I'll say this, and you saying that just now made me think Mendoza in some ways is Indiana's version of Will Howard. He's their Will Howard. He's their Craig Krenzel. He's a guy who's going to make a timely play, but he doesn't necessarily wow you with like super athleticism or a cannon arm. He's just a really smart guy who is athletic enough and has enough of an arm and makes good decisions. And that's who he is. My impression was when it comes to that specific game, I just thought Indiana matched them and on that night was a better team. If they play 10 times, I think Ohio State wins maybe, 6 or 7. But Indiana's going to get theirs because Indiana is sort of toe-to-toe with them. And going sort of into that game, and I told you guys when we watched the game, in my mind, it was like Ohio State, and then there was a level below that, a small level, and then like Georgia sat on that level, and then like a small level below that was like Indiana and everybody else. Well, now I think Indiana and Georgia are clearly sort of on the level of Ohio State, and those are the 3 best teams, and it's pretty clear. I just hope the seeding holds so we get 1 through 4 or 2 and 3 and 1 and whoever. Although I think when Oregon wins next Saturday, or a week from today, and they play Texas Tech, I think they beat Texas Tech. Me personally. And then it's Oregon and Indiana in a rematch and Georgia and Ohio State. And I'm going to say for the record, I am rooting for Miami to beat A&M because I've never believed in A&M. Plus, I have a really good friend of mine who is a Hurricane fan, and I would love nothing more than for Ohio State to play them and then just wax them completely. But that's another story for another day. You know who you are. The Canes can go to hell. That being said, we are in the playoffs. So what did you guys, Al, I guess I'll start with you. What did you think about, I have to be careful about how I ask this question because you can go a lot of different ways. It's 12 teams. Did they get the right 12 teams? And do you feel as if Notre Dame got screwed?
They came close.
And let me say this. Yeah. I'm saying the right 12 teams based on their criteria and the system that's in play, not necessarily because if we're doing it, the 12 best teams, you're not putting in Tulane and James Madison. Right. But for the purposes of how they select it and the criteria and the process, did they get the right 12 based on their criteria?
I mean, they came pretty close. You guys have known this about me since week 1. I mean, my beef is always going to be with Alabama. You get beat by more than 1 score against a non-conference opponent who finishes in the middle of the pack or lower, you should be disqualified from a playoff at that point. It's just the way it should be. But aside from that, Dennis, I know you've brought this up in conversations in the past. It's like once we went over that 4-team mark, it feels like 12 isn't enough. No. But for what they're working with, I think they did pretty good. They got a pretty good representation. I mean, really, the only teams that have any kind of argument are probably Notre Dame and maybe BYU if you stretch it and kind of ignore their reputation and just look at the numbers. But so I think it's a pretty solid job.
Yeah, Pat, how about you? Are you muted, Pat?
Yeah, I actually was muted there. Thank you. Yeah, I was starting to say, I don't think Notre Dame got snubbed really. I guess the system generally benefits them from in the past. So it didn't work out this time. Sorry, get in a conference. You know what I mean? Like, we've been talking about this for 2 decades at least with Notre
Yeah.
Dame, right? Pick a league and get in it, and then you have a path, right? It works for them when it works for them, and then unfortunately, it was inconvenient that it didn't work this year. And I will echo, Alan's sentiments about Alabama. The problem is they're in the SEC. That's why they're in
Benefit of the doubt.
over an independent in the case of Notre Dame. So, yeah, I agree. I tend to agree. I think they got the format seems right, and the teams, seem right in this format.
Yeah, let me ask you guys this. How do you feel about the idea that you can't be penalized because you made your conference title game? And the reason why I asked the question is because I would have been okay if Alabama was left out and you put Notre Dame in based on Alabama's performance in the title game. To me, it's no different than Ohio State was a bubble team 2014 and then goes to the Big Ten title game and then beats Wisconsin 59-0. Like, that was such a statement, you had to pause and rethink it. Now, I realize 28-7 is not 59-0, but if you watch that game, you had to think Alabama might not score here. So, to your guys' point, I think they got the right 12 given the criteria. I'm glad we didn't get a 5-loss Duke. I would have rather had James Madison because I think it's better for the sport if James Madison goes over a 5-loss Duke team. Like, I kind of draw the line at like 3 losses and a 12. But all this means is that we're going to go to 16 because the SEC thought they should have gotten 7 teams in. They thought Vanderbilt and Texas should have got in. Well, if you go to 16 and we do 4 more teams, I think BYU, Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, and then it's a bunch of 9-3 teams after that. So if Texas is 9-3, then I'm going to say, if I'm the Big Ten, I'm saying, wait, Michigan and USC were 9-3. And I just think once you go to 16, the FCS model works. It just does. Just go to 24 and just say the only automatic qualifiers are Power 4 conference champion. And then if you're group of 6, because remember, Pac-12 shows up next year, which, by the way, sidebar, they should just call the Pac-12 the state conference because it's literally Oregon State, Washington State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Colorado State, Utah State, Boise State, Texas State. I've never seen anything like this in my life, right? Like, none of that. So I just feel like it should be, if you win the Power 4 conference, you're in. And if you are a group of 6 champion and you're ranked, you get in. So there'll be years where there'll be 1 team. There'll be years where there's 3 teams. I'm okay with that. It fluctuates. And then just play the first 2 rounds on campus. Because today I'm watching Tarleton State, FCS. They were, a 2 seed, a 3 seed, and they just got upset by Villanova. So Villanova left Philly to go somewhere in Texas and play in this glorified high school looking field, and they won the game, but it was in Texas on their campus. Like, I kind of like that, and I'm with you guys. Notre Dame didn't get screwed. I think Notre Dame's got to come to a sobering realization. They are a lot, and it's funny because we're talking college football, so to some degree, everybody lives in the past, especially the big brand names, whether you're Michigan, Ohio State, USC. If you're a blue blood, you sort of live on the past, right? And Notre Dame is certainly a blue blood, but they've done nothing. I know they made the title game last year. Tip of the cap to you. But have they really, when's the last, you know what I mean? Like, they don't do anything. They don't win. They don't win when it matters. They don't win a title. I mean, just this century alone, Ohio State's won the title 3 times. Alabama's won the title 7 times. And there's all these other schools that have won in between all that. And they don't generate, even from a ratings perspective, because their home games are on NBC, there are Big Ten games that regularly outdo them. Like, they're not what they were 30 years ago in terms of brand recognition in the market. Like, from a business perspective, I wouldn't, no preferential treatment. But according to the agreement they got for next year, if they're top 12, they're automatically in. And I don't like that. That feels like you didn't earn it. You didn't earn it. But, I will say this. there's talk that the ACC will fold. And that's been out there for a while, so that isn't anything new. But let's just say it did. And if I'm the Big Ten, if Notre Dame wants a conference, we'll take you, but it's all sports. It's all or nothing. I'm not doing a half in, half out deal. But to help you, I would take Stanford, because Stanford helps the West Coast schools and it maintains your rival. And we get to 20. That seems like you could land that plane.
They'll never agree to come to the Big Ten. I don't.
Never.
Notre Dame's never going to join the Big Ten. They won't.
And my thought is, because there's talk now, based on how they acted when they didn't get in, that athletic directors are starting to freeze them out, that they're not going to be able to schedule. And then they went against ACC. So the ACC is like, well, then you can go pound sand. Like, Miami's a full member. They're going to get our backing, and they beat you.
That's important.
On field, actually, yeah.
Yeah, they beat and so now I kind of feel like if you saw Vanderbilt's coach's comments and they asked him how he felt about it, he's like, we didn't do what we needed to do. We were close against Alabama and close against Texas, but we didn't close the deal, so we didn't earn it. And he used to coach at Notre Dame. I'm like, Notre Dame, why couldn't you take that position? I'd have been totally with you, but But that being said, with the playoffs now, Pat, I'll start with you. Who do you think wins it?
Ooh. Oh man. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be either Indiana, Ohio State, or Georgia. I think those are the three best teams I've seen consistently all season. Ohio State facing Georgia in that thing, if things shake out the way it is before the title, is a problem for that. But I mean, I think it's going to be one of those three teams. Generally speaking, I don't know. I feel like Ohio State is still probably the best overall team in this college this season. They had a shitty game. They just did. They played shitty. I don't know if it was the game plan. Yeah, offensively. Yeah, offensively. I don't know if it was the heart line. Whatever was going on. Whatever happened, it wasn't a great.
No one can suggest to me that wasn't a factor. Now, how big or how small, I don't know, but no one can suggest to me that wasn't a factor.
It certainly was to some degree, and it was clearly. This might just be the formula Ohio State needs, right? They get a shitty game and then they dust everybody in the postseason. We'll see. We've seen it. We saw it last year, and it was impressive. But something tells me it's not going to be quite that egregious like it was last year. But I think it's going to be one of those three teams. Indiana's compelling. Didn't Signetti coach at James Madison before he got the gig? So is like one of his old coaches down there coaching James Madison, or they? I don't know. I'm not looked that up.
James Madison's coach. They took him from somewhere else, and then that guy is now the coach at UCLA. So then James Madison hired the Florida coach that just got fired.
Okay.
Is the way that worked out. But
yeah, I'm impressed with Indiana. It's incredible to see how quickly they've turned things around.
2 years in a row, so you can't say it's a fluke now. Just like Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt made a little bit of a run last year. And now they've got this freshman quarterback coming in, like best in the country. Like Vanderbilt, in my mind, Vanderbilt's as real as Indiana is, in my mind. Al, what about you? Who do you think wins?
I think Ohio State wins. There's, as I'm perusing the bracket, I can't let no matter what my brain tells me about what I saw this season, my heart will not let me get comfortable with the idea of Indiana beating Oklahoma or Alabama. I can't get there.
In football. In football.
And I'm not gonna lie, like for about the last 3 weeks I've thought Georgia was gonna win it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ole Miss was the one team that they would pick that they would say that they would rather not play in the playoff. Now, the no Kiffin thing, I don't know. It makes it a wild card. I don't know if it's a good wild card or a bad wild card. But
there's no distraction now. He's gone, and his offensive staff, he let him go back to coach. for the run. So it's the same offensive staff, and it's the same. If it's the same guy, I don't know if Kiffin calls plays. If it's the same guy calling plays, tell me what's different here.
Yeah, I mean,
neutral field too.
Yeah, they were very fortunate to beat them before. So
it's funny you say that. Now I think about it, because this would be 2 years in a row Georgia made the playoff but lost the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah,
they lost.
Well, and I mean, I think in general, you hate to look up and see a conference team in your bracket, right? It's just like, come on,
Well, but Ohio State had to beat Oregon last year in the Rose Bowl. Yeah. But I'm with you. But there comes a point where there are no bracket principles when there's 8 teams left, right? Mm-hmm. At that point, if they play to their potential, I still think Ohio State wins. I think Georgia's the tough game because Georgia's so physical.
Yeah.
So you have to match their physicality. Otherwise, they will just beat you. But
yes.
I've noticed with teams, if you match their physicality, then it comes down to quarterback play. And their quarterback is a good college quarterback, and he makes timely plays, but he doesn't make a bunch of plays above the X's and O's. Now, to be fair, I would argue Julian Sand doesn't make a bunch of plays beyond the X's and O's, but the talent disparity between them and most of the teams they play doesn't require that either. Now, Smith and Tate and Bo Jackson, all those guys sort of play above the X's and O's.
Yeah.
So I do think it's Ohio State's to lose. They should be awake and ready to go at this point. I thought it was a little unfair that if they have to play Texas A&M, that A&M, they get to play A&M in the Cotton Bowl, which is a de facto home game. But they had to move them to the Cotton Bowl because if Miami won, you couldn't put them in the Orange Bowl, then Miami got a home game.
Right.
So they had to go to the Cotton Bowl. So it's like, okay, I get it. But if they win, they'll play the semi in the Fiesta Bowl, and now that'll be a de facto Ohio State home game because they played out there for so many times in 20 years that so many people went out there in January and was like, you know what? I don't think I'm coming back home. I like it here because those winters when 75 degrees and sunny, it makes it nice. So I'm glad we cleared all that out of the way because at this point, now that all that's out the way, we have to get to the news of the week. This Michigan story is just bananas on a million levels. And Alan, like you said, you reach a point where this stops being funny and this becomes, I think about the Chappelle Show skits when they're like, when keeping it real goes wrong, like it had that sort of quality to it. I'll just open the floor because I don't know where to go with this other than to state the obvious. The man is an absolute massive idiot, but it's a failure of leadership on several levels. But I'll just start by saying this. He is somebody who very clearly had never had any real power in his life. He got it for the very first time and it went to his head. And I do not believe in my heart of hearts. I believe in my heart of hearts he was fired because they believed he wasn't a good football coach and they were looking for dirt on him. And then my parents used to have a saying, never give anybody the bullets to shoot you with. And he passed them an entire clip at that. Now, the other thing is they denied. And then on Wednesday, she recanted and changed her story and they moved quick. So something happened with her where she decided to go and tell the truth. I'm more interested in that story, but I don't know that we'll ever get that story. But that being said, I'll open up to you guys, just sort of what you guys think.
Go, Alan. You're the de facto Michigan fan in this panel.
It's nuts. It's a shame. And you try to piece together everything that you can. I think there are a couple things I saw where they mentioned that the breaking point was that he fired her. And so that's when she...
Oh, I hadn't heard that he fired her.
That's when she went to the athletic office and said, hey, I've got all this stuff.
Didn't he give her a raise too, and then fired her?
He doubled her salary, and then you can't fire her. She's left with no recourse. Like,
right.
Again, why'd you put yourself in this situation? Like,
Dennis, you hit the nail on the head.
He's 3 kids, and he's right, and married for a long time. That's
Yeah.
great. So,
But you hit the nail on the head. He accelerated too quickly for his maturity to keep up with it. And he wasn't ready for that kind of
Yeah.
of stature.
I mean, you are a public figure if you're coaching college football on really any level. But if you are the head coach of Michigan,
Yeah.
you are as public a figure as there is. In fact, I could make the argument you are the highest paid state employee.
you are very much that.
Because I definitely remember when they were giving Trussell raises and he was $4 million a year. It was like nobody in the state is paid that much money to do their job.
No,
Right.
and it's
And
just as important to them up there as it is to Ohio State here.
Right,
That
but
job.
that comes with, some restrictions on your job. You just can't go and do everything else. And I'll just say, let's put the football aside for a second. As a man, I thought it was weak as hell that you got a job, you got fired from your job, and the first thing you did was make a beeline to her house and threaten to kill yourself in front of her. This is not a her problem. This
Right.
is you problem. This
Yeah.
is absolutely 1,000,000% a you problem. And then you wanted to crash out. And the crash out, I think, is everybody's going to talk about that as being the most shocking thing. The most shocking thing to me is what made you think you could get away with this? And I thought about this today. This has real shades of Bill Clinton. Because my impression of Bill Clinton, based on all the things I've read and all the things I've seen about him, is, and I just go back to that Chappelle Show special from like 20 years ago. He was like, he's just a man who sleeps with who's closest to him. It's a matter of proximity. Like that's
Yeah, I forgot about that.
this
Bit.
was
It
a
was
matter
good.
of proximity and a weak man. I'm not going to speak ill of her because I don't know her, I don't know her situation. And it's easy for a young girl to get seduced by power, by a man in a powerful position. And I don't know the details. I'm not going down that road. I'm just saying those things happen at times. But he saw an opportunity, what he thought was a layup.
Yeah.
And, for all my religious folks, the devil comes in many forms. And sure enough, here it is. But
Snow Bunny.
Yeah,
Well,
he fell prey.
All right.
No, he did. Let's call spade a spade. That's what it was. I will say this though. Don't you feel like you have to fire the athletic director?
Yes.
Don't you feel, because it's
That's
this
dumb.
and all the Harbaugh shit, Connor Stallion shit. Like, if it was me, I am just fundamentally cleaning house.
It's a weird stretch for them because they took so long to get back here, right? Get the national title in 2023.
That's my beef, Pat. That's my beef.
They've come all this way because they were inept for a long time, and
For 25 years
Harbaugh
now,
got
Ohio
him
State
right.
has had to
Got
carry
him
a
right.
conference.
Got him playing away. Yeah, that's the hard part for me is that just when. And Alan said this a few weeks ago, or one of you guys did, or I think it was both of you, said we need Michigan to be relevant in this league. They need to be on par with Ohio State. And now this might set you back 18 months. I mean, in terms of
not even that, Pat. If they don't get it right, we're looking at those Rich Rod Brady Hoke years.
I hope not.
I
really don't want to see Michigan disappear again.
I don't either.
I don't think it's good for the product.
And you guys have heard me say this. I want Michigan to be good every day, save for the last Saturday in November. I want them to be good because we need them. Now we're depending on a newcomer in Oregon and Indiana.
Don't say that. That's not.
Well, I think Penn State will turn it around because I think Penn State hired the right guy.
Yeah.
He is a damn good football coach because if you can win in Iowa State, if you know anything about football, if you can win in Iowa State, you can win anywhere. I think Penn State will be fine in the long run. In the short run, it'll hurt a little bit because they had no recruiting class. But they have to get this right because otherwise, Alan, to your point, part of the Tressel Urban Meyer run, at least half of Tressel's run, because Lloyd Carr's there till 2006 or 7 or something, right?
Yes.
Part of the Tressel Urban Meyer run is that they had to go against Rich Rod and Brady Hoke.
Right.
You know, and even when Meyer had to go against Harbaugh, he had his number there for a while, right? And then day one, the first one, I mean, they beat the dog shit out of Michigan with Fields that day. And then Michigan turned it around. I'm not getting into the whole cheating thing because honestly, those people that play football know if there's a schematic advantage to all that. I'm not getting into that. All I'm saying is that when you finally showed up and started pulling your weight, you had to bring Connor Stallions with you. And
Well,
now this. And
yeah,
so is winning everything? I mean, does it let me ask you this way. Do you feel like Michigan on some level was sold its soul to win that title?
I don't personally feel that way.
I think because I do think that it's overlooked what a veteran team that was.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I
yeah.
agree with that.
They had put their
I
time
think you
in.
could argue that was a team that paid its dues, and like we've said, I mean,
And they were building. They
yeah,
were building to
yeah,
that.
and the and those were teams that like what you hear me say all the time, like they would put your quarterback in the dirt without sending a blitz.
Yeah.
Like they were just
That's NFL defensive linemen.
Yeah.
And in college, that's such a huge difference when you have that.
Huge difference. I think for me, I'm trying to ignore the sad aspect and the guy's family and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm really intrigued about where they're going to go with a hire, because I feel like they have a chance if they ignore like the temptation of like the young excitable guy from Arizona State or some of these other young big college names. I think that Michigan is usually better when they have an NFL style coach who's used to all the schemes.
Yeah.
That like you bring in an NFL offensive coordinator, he's not going to sit over there by every little thing that every wrinkle Ohio State throws at him. And I just because I think you get rid of the run pass option nonsense, because these are freaking college kids. They're going to make the wrong choice.
They feel like an I formation school.
What's that?
They feel like an I formation school. They feel like we're going to throw up with a fullback and a running back and two tight ends, and we're going to line up and we're going to put you in a phone booth, and that's what we do. I'm going to tell you the guy I don't want them to hire, because I think if they hired this guy, then what you just described is on the table, and it neutralizes any potential schematic advantage Ohio State would have with Patricia and if Chip Kelly comes back. And who I don't want them to hire is John Harbaugh.
Right.
Because Harbaugh's been in Baltimore for 15, 17 years. They're having a down year. I could see him saying, you know what, this is too much, but I don't know who they get if everybody tells them no.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Cignetti's proven now, if I am a good enough coach and you marry that with an institution and a school that is willing to pay, and I'm in a Power 4 conference, there is no reason why we can't go toe-to-toe with someone like Ohio State or Georgia. That is proven now, because Vanderbilt's coach, who was an alum, said, this is my dream job. He goes 10-2 extension. Same thing at Georgia Tech and Arizona State and various other places. I don't know who they get, but I feel like they have to get someone, because that's a top 5 job.
Oh, yeah.
It's critical. It's
Notre
critical.
Dame, Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama. Those are top 5 jobs, and they don't come open often.
It's critical that they get this right. It really is. There's so much at stake now with NIL and the transfer portal and all of the things. Like,
I just don't. They're really obvious.
They don't.
So to me, Pat,
they need to go. They need to go with someone that's in the tree somewhere, that's been with Harbaugh. They need to do that. That's my feeling.
Here's who they need to go get. They need to find their version of Tressel. You need to find your version of Jim Tressel, because Jim Tressel wasn't on anybody's radar.
Mm-hmm.
No one's radar. coming off of that John Cooper experience. And he changed everything fundamentally overnight. And then they only lost once.
I mean, they really don't believe.
They played a lot of tight games when Tressel was the coach.
Well,
it's not like Michigan got blown out all the time. Those were some close games, but Tressel knew, at least this is my belief, Tressel realized none of these guys can outcoach me. And I can recruit here, so I'll have the talent. So minimum, I'm 10-2. Occasionally, I'm going to go 11-1. And when it's all right, when everything breaks right, I'll be undefeated. And that's enough. I don't need to do anything else. Until Florida showed up in 06 and had speed you couldn't match. Then it all flipped upside down, and we know what happens from there. But to me, that's what Michigan needs to do. They need to find their version of Jim Tressel, and I don't know what that looks like for them.
Yeah, I think it's probably an NFL offensive coordinator that none of us know the name of, that's, making $900,000 and picks apart NFL defenses, and somebody who can come up and say, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run these types of patterns. We're going to throw the ball to the tight end. I'm going to recruit recruit some receivers.
Just take somebody from Harbaugh's tree that knows his system, because...
Well, first thing is, do any of them have a show cause? Because I've heard Harbaugh's current defensive coordinator has been thrown out there, but I think his show cause...
I don't know any of that. I just want to say, because I didn't really go into this, I didn't really get to say this, but I feel bad for Sherrone Moore. It's a mental health thing that broke on him, and as much as he's going to get clowned for that, part of me is just I feel sad about the whole thing, and I really want to just make that clear that I'm not a diehard anything as far as sports go anymore. The older I get, the less interested I am in all of it. But and I certainly don't have this hardcore edge about Ohio State Michigan rivalry and all this stuff. As a human being that made a terrible mistake, I mean, I don't even, is he even 40 yet? Is he still in his 30s, I think?
Yeah, he's 39 years old.
Fairly young guy.
It's exactly my point.
Not too much too quick was your point earlier.
Yeah.
And that's probably what we're dealing with here. And maybe he just had that dog in him. We know guys like this that just don't want to be family men. We all know this as men.
The story parallels Britney Spears in a lot of ways. You got too much too soon, couldn't handle it, and you spiraled and crashed out. There's a lot of that, and it is sad, but I'm sad, but only to a point. This happened because you made choices.
Oh, of course. You have to be that way. I just mean that
you can't outweigh the consequences of your choices.
I'm not going to sit here and be on a social media, make these comments that I see where Michigan's this and that and blah 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 blah. I'll make jokes to you guys, but I don't mean that stuff, right? Because I said, oh yeah, Michigan man, indeed. That was a joke. I said that to you three, and
hold on, but that's fair. That's fair, Pat.
It's not. It's a.
But we do, I think, collectively at large, but specifically internally for the Michigan people, we're gonna have to have this conversation about a Michigan man. We're gonna have to have this conversation.
Well, it's the same as.
But I would argue he's not a Michigan man. He's an outsider. I would meet Michigan halfway. Sherrone Moore's not a Michigan man. He didn't come from there.
Well, what I would prefer to say is all of these fan bases need to get over themselves. The Michigan man shit, the we win with people horse shit. I mean, you're paying 19-year-old boys who have overdeveloped physically to play a game. You will cheat to win. We all know that, and all of you will do it.
At all levels.
Yes, at any level. So just back off the holier-than-thou shit and just admit what you are.
Can I just say this real quick?
The sports league.
Yes. About paying them, all right? I just saw a clip on, I don't remember what it was, Instagram Reel or whatever. Somebody had Ed Ogeron on, recently on their podcast, and he's retired now. whatever. But they asked him how he felt about NIL and paying the money and paying these kids, and he's like, well, and I'm paraphrasing a lot here, but he was like, back when I was coaching, you just had to go in the back door with the money. Now you can just go through the front door with the money. Like,
I
it's
saw that
going
clip.
on for a long time, and we've all known it.
I would prefer that you had done that in an Ed Orgeron voice. If you're going to ever do that again.
I can't.
I'm gonna do it at your old drum boys, but not your one.
Yeah, exactly.
Get some crawfish.
But yeah, I mean, Eric Dickerson was driving around in a freaking Trans Am from Texas A&M.
He was ahead of his time.
Yes.
SMU, the best money can buy, right?
Yeah, it was the best team money can buy was the SMU. Was the SMU Mustangs. Shout out to
What's funny is the Trans Am was from A&M.
Even better.
Yeah,
that just made that's right up there with LeBron's Hummer in high school. No one ever got to the bottom of that. It's urban legend now in terms of how he got it, but everybody remembered that at the time. But yeah, I mean, we're paying him now. This is perfect. Like I've heard other people say this, but there is no other industry that's worth over $1 billion that doesn't have a leader.
Right.
Well, and it's getting
No
messy.
one's going to see
these hedge funds,
for the greater good. So
funds coming for these leagues is going to be a problem. It's going to. We're already in muddy fucking water.
And you guys, we've been doing this for a long time. Happy hours and whatnots for over 20 years. You guys have heard me say this. I want to say it was like 2006, 2007. I remember the Big Ten had sold its media rights for $1 billion. It was the first time it had ever happened. And I remember thinking, there's nothing amateur about $1 billion.
Right.
In no context is $1 billion amateur. And from that point forward, I was like, pay the players. Mm-hmm. Pay the player. And I don't know if you heard what Troy Aikman said. He gave money to NIL, and the person who got the money decided to transfer after the season. He was like, I am never giving NIL money again. I was
let's talk about that.
Contract and honor that like an employee?
That's That's a great thing, though. Let's think about that for a minute, because I think it's been who's the Connecticut's coach? Gino Auriemma, women's coach, basketball. Yeah, he's had the best sound bites on all of this, because eventually we're gonna have to put some sort of restrictions and rules on how this shit works, because it's crazy. It's too crazy as it is. But eventually they're gonna have to figure out, like, all right, you're gonna take this money. This is a 2-year deal. I don't give a shit if you're unhappy. This is what's going to be. You're signing a professional deal.
I'm glad you said that, Pat, because most people don't understand at a Division I level, your scholarship is a year-to-year thing.
Yeah,
it's not a 4-year locked in stone sort of deal.
Of course not. But when you're taking money,
with
a whole different thing.
With as much money as there is at stake. So I want to walk you guys through an exercise. Well, there's a guy that my brother and I follow on Twitter. I think I've sent him to you. He's ahead on news before everybody else. Like college football reporters follow this guy. And he said something a couple weeks ago that said, when the next TV negotiations come around, there's only going to be 3 power conferences. There's not going to be 4. So my question to you is, I'm going to assume for the purposes of this exercise that the Big 12 survives and it's the ACC that collapses. And then those teams have to go other places. Al, I'll start with you. If the ACC folds, how many teams do you think the SEC takes, and who do you think they take?
This would have been such a no-brainer not long ago.
Yeah.
Florida State feels like a little bit of a pain in the ass these days, though. And Clemson feels a little shakier than we ever thought they would have. I mean, I think Miami is a pretty safe bet.
Really?
I'll slide in my ridiculous opinion of, I pray to God that this happens and the Big E and Syracuse goes back to the Big East for basketball, and I don't care about their football whatsoever.
I see this going the way of the Big East, where football, you decided to get in bed with football, and it ultimately killed one of the best basketball leagues that ever existed, is the way that I see it.
It'd kill it.
Yeah, it would absolutely. And the reason why it's going to kill it is because since football is driving it, you are splitting Duke and Carolina. And then once you split them, the ACC is effectively no more at that point. It isn't even what it used to be because Maryland's gone. Because Maryland and Carolina was an event at least 30 years ago when we grew up, like watching all this, like Maryland and Carolina, Maryland and Duke. Those were appointment TV. Now it's just not that way.
Shout
I
out to
think
Stay Hip.
I love it. Digging in the
Where's
crate.
Stay Hip? Where are you
Hold
at?
on. He was on Joe Smith's Maryland squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
X-ray
he
hip.
was. Yes, he
X-ray
was.
hip. Love it. I think
Number one pick, Joe Smith.
I don't think they take. If I'm the SEC, I would take Clemson because they're the one school that feels like an SEC school.
Yeah.
And I'm holding out for Carolina because SEC has no presence in that state. In Carolina, of all the Carolina schools, that's the one you want. Because Duke's a private school. The only private school they have is Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt's old money, and Duke's old money too, but you don't want Duke, you want Carolina. And I think those two, I still stand by if this happens, the Big Ten would absolutely, in my mind, if Notre Dame got its act together, you take Notre Dame, because all your rivals are there, and it's there regionally as well, and Stanford. But selfishly, if Notre Dame wants to be arrogant and doesn't go, selfishly, I want Georgia Tech. I want to plant my flag in Atlanta. So every time you come for the SEC championship game, you have to look at my flag.
This whole thing is crazy to talk about this. I mean, it's really hard for my 48-year-old brain to figure this out.
Pat, as much as things have already moved around, you can't say this is off the board.
I can't patently disagree with this person, and it saddens me to no end to think that at some point the Atlantic Coastal Conference isn't going to exist because everything made sense
about the glory of Len Bias and Michael Jordan, and now that game could never happen.
Understand when you picked up Street and Smith or a Sport Magazine in 91 or 92, and the conferences back in those days, it was perfect. It was perfect the way it was, and they fucked it up. They fucked it up, and they did that for money, and that's all that matters, and I understand that. But they fucked everything up, and if they blow this up, college basketball is dead to me, by the way, and we can say that for the next podcast. But I have no interest in watching it. We'll get together for March Madness as we always do, but I don't give a shit about the leagues anymore. I don't care about it, and I think the direct result of college football has ruined it. But that's another story for another day. But I can't imagine a world where the ACC doesn't exist in some form or fashion. So it saddens me to think that that's a possibility. But here we are. We are talking about it. What did
we already lost the Pac-10?
What did Boeheim say 15 years ago?
Boeheim said one day we're going to look back and say, why the hell did we even do all of this?
Why did we do all of this? We had what was perfect for every sports fan. It was perfect then, and now it's not. So, fuck it.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with any of that because basketball's been on all day, and as I get older, every year that passes, it takes me a little longer to get into it.
Because we saw the best leagues. We saw the best players.
And that's the other thing, too.
We already saw
it. And I tell people this all the time. As far as I'm concerned, you could drop me off back in the fall of 1996. If I can go back in time, drop me off in the fall of 1996.
Fuck yeah. Any of that's
great. But when I think about it, the spring of 1996, you guys check me on this. But spring of 96, in the Big East tournament that year, you would have had Iverson, Ray Allen, Kerry Kittles,
John
Wallace, when the Big East was the Big East, right? Like,
Big East was the greatest basketball league ever.
Those days are gone.
Well, like I love to remind you guys, and I might butcher it a little bit, but between, what was it, 83 and 89, 7 different Big East schools went to the Final Four. Now this, again, different. This was not Duke and Carolina going every year. This is
St. John's and Providence and Georgetown and
and
Syracuse and
Hall, Connecticut.
Oh, Connecticut. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh God, I forgot. Yes.
a conference putting 7 different teams in the Final Four in a 7-8 year span. That's insanity.
And don't forget, a Big East coach resurrected the biggest SEC school when I was young. Rick Pitino came to fucking Lexington and fixed them. But where was he from? Big East. He's a Big East guy. That's where he was from.
But it would have been easy for Pitino to dominate the SEC, given what the SEC was at that time as a basketball league.
Oh, no doubt about it. I just mean that
because the one school that could push them was Nolan Richardson and Arkansas. That 40 minutes of hell, they could put you in a blender. But that's I don't remember any other SEC school during that time that could have went toe to toe with Kentucky.
I mean, Florida could give them a little teams, with Vern Maxwell and that big goofy dude, Dwayne Shinsius.
Andrew DeClerc was down there.
That's who I remember, but Shinsis is before DeClerc. But that's the point now. Like you have to, first of all, you'd have to know hoops to know that Vernon Maxwell played for Florida.
Right.
You have to really know hoops to know that. Like nobody remembers that Matt Barnes played at UCLA. We do. Because we love hoops. I mean, that's why this episode is called the 3-Man Weave. Like we know this.
Right.
But really, our wheelhouse is college basketball. We really ought to
one of the best
college basketball.
One of the best college basketball teams that got robbed of all time is Cincinnati when Kenyon Martin got hurt.
Yeah.
Kenyon Martin was a special college basketball player. And they still had Huggins then. See, to me, Cincinnati was on today, and they were playing in Atlanta, and they were playing Georgia. And my first thought was, God, I wish Huggins was still coaching this team. I would watch this if Huggins was still coaching the team because I know the one thing you couldn't do with a Huggins team is you couldn't punk them.
Oh, no, they were not
you
that.
Couldn't punk them. No, you couldn't. Ohio State refused to play Cincinnati for a long time because those Ohio State teams were good, but they didn't have no dog in them. Not like with Melvin Levitt and all those guys. No, Steve Logan, Herb
Jones.
In fact, Jermaine Tate left Ohio State and went to Cincinnati. But again,
Cincinnati
if you don't know
had a better program in basketball for 25 years.
Damon Flint.
Overall. Damon Flint was, I mean, but that's another story for another day. Nick Van Exel went to a Final Four, I think, in 93? Or 90?
Yeah,
no, that's 94?
94?
No.
93-ish, I think, feels right.
No, it's 92.
Okay.
It's 92 because it's in Minnesota, and that's the Fab Five. They get there as freshmen.
And UC lost to Carolina, right?
UC would have lost to Duke because Duke was in the Final Four. No, Duke beats Indiana because that's Krzyzewski, and it's Michigan that beats UC. Because if you remember right, it's Duke in the one in the semi, and Indiana's in the other because it was a big deal that Coach K is going against.
I remember that.
And then Michigan and the boys beat Cincinnati and Van Exel, and then they get to the final. And I remember the John Wooden quote of, if you give me experience over talent, he said, I would take talent every time. I think that's right. And Duke just mopped them.
Yeah.
Because now you're in that deep water, and Duke was already defending champ. There's an institutional knowledge with them because they beat UNLV, which was their nemesis the year before. Because then Michigan loses that one, then goes to the Superdome a year later, and then that's the timeout. That's I would say
beat Kentucky in the Final Four that year.
And Fab Five is probably the best team to never win the title. They're probably the best team not to win a title.
Yeah.
I can't think of another college basketball team.
The Kentucky team that went undefeated in 2015, that was a really good basketball team.
Yeah, but that wasn't the best Kentucky team I ever saw. That's Carl Thomas and
paper. They were probably
and Devin Booker and those guys.
Yeah.
That's not the best. That's not the best Kentucky team I ever saw. I mean, honestly,
No, I mean, they went they were about to go undefeated, which hasn't
yeah.
happened since
Well, what
Knights
makes me mad
Demons.
about not them, but they got to the Final Four. They played Wisconsin, who hadn't scored in that building because they got beat
I
59
don't want
nothing by
I don't
Ohio
want to
State.
talk about this.
Hold
I
on, hold
had to
on.
look this up, and I don't even
You
want to talk
did,
about
you did. So now you got to eat your dog food now,
it. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Wisconsin spit the bit. They spent all their energy to beat Kentucky and showed up in the final, and that was one of the worst final games ever played. I think. No, I take it back. That's the UConn Butler game. They had nothing in the final. I don't even remember who beat Wisconsin in the final
Duke.
that year. Was it Duke?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I'll just say this, and I hope Calipari hears this. I hope you listen to
Sure he
this,
will.
John.
He can't with all that Tyson Foods money in his ear.
Listen, John. You had
Walmart's calling line 2.
You had Carl Anthony Towns on that team. I remember telling Alan this when Carl Anthony Towns got to the NBA, and he was with Minnesota. He got drafted. I remember telling Alan, I go, I didn't know he was good. I didn't know he was good. I mean, for the one fucking year he played there, no idea he was a good player. None. He didn't do anything. They didn't use him at all.
That's half the point of college basketball coaching is to make sure everybody knows that your team wins because of you and not because of a player.
I know, but that's stupid. They could have.
Pat, they didn't let AD shoot. They didn't let him play offense in college. Just protect the rim. Well, and he was a former point guard.
That was a special group. That 2012 team was really good.
I would take the DeMarcus Cousins, John Wall squad over the Cat squad.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. But listen, we got way off. We're into college basketball, and none of us even like it anymore. We like old college basketball.
Listen. This is an old man corner now.
We're into the weeds now.
Yeah, I mean, what we do is we drink and we bitch about the way things used to be. But
we're good at that.
I am okay with getting older. I feel like I'm getting better. So with that, we'll do last call.
Okay,
I like my take on a parting shot. So I'll start with you. What last call? What's interesting, top of mind for you?
You know what is fantastic? Being a fan of the New York fucking Mets. That's what's fantastic.
There it is. Here we go, everybody. Here we go. Get it out. Let's go.
I was born in 1975. I had the great 1986 World Series run with a ton of great memories. A few moments here and there in the late 80s and series that they lost. Same with late 90s, the Piazza squad, Piazza's 9/11 home run. But in recent history, the biggest thing that has happened to Mets fans was Pete Alonso's home run against the Brewers in the playoffs off of Devin Williams. So the most Metsian thing that could ever fucking happen is the Mets signing Devin Williams after he just spent the last half of the season sucking for the Yankees and letting Pete Alonso walk.
The rhetorical question is, why do we do this to ourselves?
Why do we do it to ourselves? I told Patrick the other day in a separate conversation, I'm trying to view this as a reverse Met. Because usually the Mets have a great off season and then the wheels fucking fall off.
Suck.
At the latest in the second half of the season. So I'm hoping it'll be a low-key deal. I did like the signing of the infielder from Seattle, Polanco, okay. Good player.
Okay.
Because as much as I love Pete, I will say, I mean, he was defensively deficient. The Mets were largely defensively deficient last year.
Isn't their stadium more of a pitcher's park than it is like okay.
They basically built an upgraded Shea, where Shea was always pitcher friendly.
Because I remember I texted you guys this week and I was like, what exactly it seemed like a big deal to me, but I don't follow baseball the way I used to.
We don't
I mean,
either.
I'll die on this hill. Bonds was my favorite player, still's my favorite player. He should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't
Yes.
give a
Best player
shit
ever,
about
so.
cheating personally because you don't know who cheated and who didn't. And everybody who turned a blind eye all of a sudden got self-righteous to say, no, we can't let you win, but you turned a blind eye the whole time. It's a bunch of bullshit. But I don't follow it the way I used to. But when I saw him go to Baltimore, I was like, hey, this feels like a big deal. Like this, it just seemed like a big deal because for all I know, the little bit that I do know about baseball, he's been a Met the whole time, right? Like he's not a guy
Yes.
that bounces around.
Homegrown
Guy, right?
franchise, yeah, homegrown guy, franchise all-time leader in home runs.
Let's spin that, Alan, because maybe the Mets have secretly had one of the best farm systems in baseball for
They have.
quite a while. So secretly, maybe, we're letting some of the dead weight go. Get the fuck out of here. And we're going to bring in new guys, and then they're going to be fine. Now, are these guys going to be ready on opening day of 2026?
Well, Pat,
probably not, but
Pat, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because my first thought was I remember. You guys keep me honest here, but I remember when the Phillies have always been good the last probably 15, 20 years. But there was a year, or probably this is like maybe 06, 07. Jim Tomey's playing for the Phillies, if I remember right.
The end of his career, yeah.
The end of his career, and God, that guy could launch a ball. I mean, he hit like 600 home runs or something. Like Jim Tomey, now
Hall of Famer, great fucking player. Yeah,
average was for shit, but he could hit it, right? But I seen
without looking, he hit over 260 for his career, right?
That's fine, 260, right? So,
at least,
not right.
I'm saying all that to say, I remember Tomey at the end of his career playing first base, but then the Phillies had a guy coming up named Ryan Howard, who was very clearly going to be their future first baseman, and he was good. Are you saying the Mets are stacked like that, where they have guys waiting in the wings ready to come up and do that?
Yeah.
Or
so in some positions,
are they just an unknown? Because Ryan Howard, by the time he got there, seemed like a sure thing to me. Mm-hmm. But I don't know baseball. You guys do.
I would say I don't think the Mets are stacked like that. They were
every position,
but with all of the injuries they had last year, they were forced to bring up a lot of young pitchers a little ahead of schedule.
Okay,
and they actually performed pretty well. So it gave a little bit of hope there, and I think the bigger thing is, and it's a it's a mixed emotions thing for me because of all of the positives that Pete brought. Like, I also remember the '86 Mets, the late '90s Mets, and the reasons why they were great is because they could catch the fucking ball.
fundamentals, kids. Fundamentals.
That one game playoff in Cincinnati in the late '90s, Al Leiter pitched a complete game shutout that day, 2-hitter. But he walked some. It was a 2-hitter, and he had some walks. But every time the Reds got a runner or two on base, they turned two within the next batter. I mean, it's the only team I ever watched that I would actually want them to make 3 outs so I could watch them field again.
Was Ray Ordonez the shortstop then?
Yeah, the greatest shortstop, the greatest defensive shortstop of all time. Yes, he was on that team.
Greatest defensive shortstop of all time, right?
And it's not close. And St. Louis fans can, eat one.
I don't think it's.
Hold on. My phone just rang. It's Omar Vizquel. He's
he doesn't even get to whatever.
Listen,
please, Omar Vizquel.
Just do yourself a favor.
Show me him throwing somebody out from his knees halfway up the.
Dennis, go Google Ray Ordonez highlights tonight, and you'll see what we're talking
I'll
about.
do that. I'll say that I do remember as a kid, the one catcher I thought was the best catcher I'd ever seen was Benito Santiago, because he was throwing guys out at second base from his knees, and nobody was doing that. And I am absolutely convinced if I was a baseball manager that unless you have a guy that could do that sitting behind home plate and I've got the right leadoff guy, green light. I'm putting pressure on you. I'm not convinced the guy crouching behind the plate can throw my guy out if I I'm showing my age here, but one of my favorite leadoff hitters of all time was Vince Coleman.
Okay, sure. Vince was great. But
yeah, I love Vinny Lofton.
But I mean, throwing guys out from their knees like that, there's only 8 or 9 guys that can fucking do that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you can't do that, then I'm not playing for the home run the way they do it today. Oh,
Right.
I'm putting guys in
Well,
motion.
no, you're in with us. You want to see action. You're in with the old
Yeah.
guys that like to see things on the field. Yeah.
And I will say I diverted a bit there, but my point being, you know, that Mets team had John Olerud. Late '90s team. He was a great defensive player. The
Well,
'86 team had
Phenomenal.
Keith Hernandez. He was a great defensive player.
Shout out to Keith Hernandez. He belongs in the Hall of Fame if he ever hears this.
Yeah.
I want you to know how much we love you.
So if the Mets approach is that we're going to sacrifice those 40 homers and 120 ribs and try to get in somebody who can give us 20 and 90, but picks a clean first, I can get behind it.
Fair enough.
I've seen them have plenty of offensive players who put up big numbers on shitty teams. But for some reason, when they have good defenses, that they don't lose that many games.
The guy that comes to mind for me who put up stats on bad teams, not to switch sports, but I guess in league circles he was known this way, was Corey Maggette.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
He also, it was documented that he took a $25,000 check from Duke, and nobody cared. It was fine.
Yeah, it was
like SMU ahead of their time.
SMU, they were ahead of their time.
All right, Pat, last call for you.
Last call for me. Listen, what a story it's been for. I'm 48 years old. Okay, Phillip Rivers is starting a fucking football game tomorrow. And let me just check on this. I think he's 45. So I think
I think he's 44, but 40. I mean, either way,
I'm 3 years older than this guy. So legit, right? Legitimate. I think it's probably made the rounds. Like they were asked, like somebody asked him in a press.
Really praying for his safety.
They said, "How much do you weigh right now?" And he goes, "You know, I don't even fucking know. I don't even know how much I weigh right now." Like if you see that clip, it was pretty funny. But like, it's interesting to me that there's a lot interesting about the Colts because they start off really well, and your former boy Danny Dimes Jones was fine at the beginning of the season. I remember texting you going, "Holy shit, he looks great!" And then all of a sudden the wheels come off. But then the Ursay kids, they realize, hey, we got something going here. We got to try to figure this out. But like their all-in moment is like, let's see if Phil wants to come. He's been gone for 5 fucking years, guys. He's Hall of Fame voting eligible. He gives that up. He gives that up to go back and
the roster. His clock resets. And to be fair, because I've heard some discussion about, well, I don't know if Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer. Like, stop.
He's a Hall of Famer. Shut the fuck
get
up.
out of here.
Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Fame. He may not be first ballot, but he's a Hall of Fame.
He's going into the Hall of Fame.
The Chargers believed when he was their quarterback, they had a legitimate chance to win the Super Bowl. That's what a franchise quarterback is.
Is Dan Fouts in the Hall of Fame?
He has better stats than Dan Fouts and Warren Moon.
That's my point. Is Dan Fouts in the Hall of Fame?
It's a different time. It's a different game, and I acknowledge that. He's a Hall of Famer.
Dan Fouts is in the Hall of Fame. Phillip Rivers.
You know the funny thing I read about Rivers was that I mean, yes, this resets his Hall of Fame clock, but it also resets his insurance coverage clock.
What?
And he's got like freaking 12 kids or whatever it is.
Yeah. So he had to. Did he really think he was through?
This is for a man to be 44 and say, "I'm coming out of retirement 5 years."
Hey, look. The over under on. I think I was watching McAfee's show on Friday, and they were talking about this, which kind of made me think to bring this up today. But I think they said it was like plus 200 for him to get 175 yards tomorrow. Like that's how little Vegas thinks he's going to do well.
I'm genuinely concerned for his safety.
I am too. What the fuck? He's 45 years old.
I'll say this, and I don't want this to happen. I don't want anything bad to happen because I like their squad and I like the quarterback because I think it's a really good fit. If you're Tampa and Baker gets hurt, don't you have to call Brady?
No,
Don't you
he
have to
can't.
go?
No, he's off the board now. He's involved in the
No,
Raiders.
no, no,
He's
no,
off
no.
the board.
Rivers. If Rivers can come off the bench 5 years later, he has to tell me no. Like, I'll just say this. I feel like it's Tom Brady's destiny that he has to be the quarterback in 2028 for the flag football Olympic team. He has to be Captain America. He has to fulfill his destiny as Captain America.
Didn't they say Rajon Rondo was the best?
It's
Right?
it's the most like Marvel Captain America propaganda thing
Love it.
in the history of the world for Tom Brady to be the quarterback of a flag football team that won the gold medal in LA.
You know how I feel about Tom Brady. He's my quarterback. He's the greatest of all time.
Tom Brady is considered the greatest quarterback of all time. I will not argue that, but he is not the best quarterback I ever saw.
I know that. John Elway is. Listen, don't go anywhere. I have to go pee. I'm just going to mute for a second while you guys.
You didn't need to announce that, but thank you.
I'm going to tell everybody. I don't give a shit.
Well, I'll try to edit that out. No one needs to know that you have to go relieve yourself.
All right, hang on.
I might leave it in. Who knows? So who knows? But don't you? But like, yeah, like this is insane that Rivers is going. Like, honestly, like Alan, I'm at a point now where if someone asks me, "Hey, we're having a run, a couple pickup games, you should show up," like, I'm genuinely concerned for my own safety because I feel like I would pop an Achilles now.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I would go and grab a rebound and turn, and my knee would pop the other way because I'm doing movements I haven't done.
Right.
And so, like, the most physical activity I want at this point is I walk my dog and I can do an elliptical for 45 minutes an hour. Like, I don't need to be, like, I'm a middle-aged man. Like, I don't need, like, what, like, that he's got a grandkid.
Yeah.
And he's out here flying cross country to go. This doesn't make any sense. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, you're telling me, honestly, you know what would have been a viable option to me? And I would have been like, you know what? I understand it. And it's even more viable than Phillip Rivers. You could have gotten Kaepernick. Kaepernick makes more sense to me because Kaepernick was a better athlete.
Yeah.
If nothing else, his reaction time might be slow, but Phillip Rivers has never scrambled. That's not a guy that avoids the rush. At least Kaepernick might have an inkling of athleticism left to be able to slide left or right and throw the ball away. I would have signed Kaepernick before I would have signed Rivers just off the strength of athletic ability alone.
But at the same time, I'm going to be keeping an eye on it, praying that Rivers throws for 350. I am.
Listen, his
prime Rivers could sling it.
And all the former players that have been on TV this week were saying they love to play against Rivers because Rivers talk more shit than any other quarterback. And the best part was he was talking shit and he wouldn't cuss. So it was like, this guy's talking shit to you. He's not crazy. So it's like, oh, dadgummit. It's like, oh, like the State Farm commercial. Like, oh, you almost had it. Like, he's out there talking shit like that to you. But, Pat, they would have been better signing Kaepernick.
Oh, shut up.
Come
on.
More athletic than Rivers. He's more athletic than Rivers. Come on.
I mean,
come on.
Didn't they sign?
Hang on a second. That caught me by surprise. I need to take a knee.
There you go, Aldo. Take a fucking.
Well played.
Listen, I don't know, Kaepernick. That's just, you caught me way off guard with that shit. That is.
He's a better athlete. That's not negotiable.
No doubt about it. But they don't need that. They just need somebody to get the ball to Tyler Warren, the tight end, because Pat has him in fantasy football. And needs fucking. I'm in the playoffs. I need him getting touchdowns tomorrow.
I haven't played fantasy in 2 years, Pat, and I don't miss it.
You know,
I make my bets on Sundays and let it ride. Like,
yeah, that's probably smarter. But I got into this league with some friends. Friends.
Nothing wrong with that. That's always good to be with friends.
But I was just gonna say to put a Phillip Rivers, to put a bow on this. The greatest Phillip Rivers story that I know was a mutual friend of ours. We were once out. Let's say this was 18 years ago. Probably was. We were at a sports bar watching Sunday football.
Oh
And there was
God.
this guy, you know this story.
Oh God, I do now.
There was this guy who, I don't know if he must have had bets against him or was worried about him.
He
He
was
kept
going through something in life.
he was going through something in life, and he kept going, man, fuck you, Phillip Rivers. And this is like at a giant sports bar with big ass TVs and stuff. And
It was personal for him.
our mutual friend looks over at us and goes, I guarantee you that guy was an ex-con. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, just listen to him. Listen to his speech pattern. Just look at him. I guarantee you that motherfucker's done some time. It's one of the greatest
Oh my God, I haven't thought
Alan,
about
his initials are R.
I was going to say, oh, you didn't even have to say it. As soon as you said ex-con, I knew exactly.
He knew who the fuck it was. You know who it was, but that's the kind of stuff you could expect from that. Anyway,
all right, my last call. You know, we're in a weird sports calendar situation. Like last night, like there's really nothing on. There's no real NBA on. There's no college football really on. Like you know, I'm not into hockey. I respect it, but I'm not into it. Baseball's done. Like I'm not. We just got done talking about not in college basketball. So I turn on Netflix, and I used to work at a grocery store in high school, and Netflix is kind of like, to me, like when you walk into a grocery store, if you're hungry, there's no better place to be than a grocery store. But you walk in and you're still like, I have no idea what I want to eat. I feel that way every time I go to Netflix. Like, I know I have a million things I could watch, but either I've already seen this or it doesn't seem interesting, and there's like nothing in between. So I gave Netflix a chance last night, and I turn on, and the first thing that comes up is the new Knives Out movie. And I gotta say, I am a sucker for a movie that has a plot twist that you don't see coming. Like we just talked about last week when we were out watching the game. I just literally put two and two together that Zed from Pulp Fiction is Redfoot from Usual Suspects, and that guy just died today.
You did.
Like it's just ironic how sort of that happens. So, but the new Knives Out movie, I'm not going to give it away. I'll just say every time I thought I had it nailed, it switched on me. It pulled the rug out underneath me. But the sort of whodunit in the end, I was right originally. But the movie was so good at being sleight of hand that I cannot recommend this movie enough. This movie's really, first of all the Knives Out movies are really good. This one is different than the other ones because of the sort of Catholic Church sort of backdrop that goes on in this. But the acting is really good. And the story is really, really good. And you end up feeling for the main character. Like you really do sort of feel for him. But
what's his name? Ryan Johnson, the guy that directs those and
yeah,
uses them. He's really good. He's not so good at Star Wars movies, right, Aldog?
This is true, because I know the movie you're referring to, and that movie. I'll say this: that movie, the only good thing about that movie was when you got to the end and you got to see the fight you wanted to see. Like that was cool, but outside of that, it was like, oh, real quick. Speaking of last call, I was having this conversation with my sister, so I'm going to ask you guys if there's any other ones. Typically, no sequel is better than the original, but I would submit at least 4 movies. I will submit 3 to 4 movies to you. You tell me if there's other ones outside of this, and then we'll end on this. Godfather 2 is better than Godfather 1.
Yeah, I'll go along with that.
I can live with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight is better than Batman Begins. The one with Heath Ledger.
Yes. That's yes.
Okay? Empire Strikes Back is better than the original Star Wars: A New Hope.
100%. It's probably one of the top 10 movies ever made.
Now, here's number 4 that has entered the conversation, and I will die on this hill. Terminator 2 is better than the original Terminator.
Oh.
See,
Well,
this is why I ask these questions,
The
because
effects are amazing. There's a lot about it that's great. I see the argument.
there we go. That's why I asked the question. Is it better than the original? I'll die on that hill, but you tell me.
I don't know. The problem for me is that Cameron's original Terminator, there's so many things going on in that film and that time period, and the fact that that was kind of his debut of like, hey, I'm really
His first
gonna
big
make this
movie.
first big movie, and like it was kind of a big deal for Arnold. Like I'm sentimental about that film, but it's
Okay.
also ridiculous in premise. Like the whole thing of it is like crazy. And then
Well,
yeah, they waited what 6 or 7 years to do T2, right? Was that 89 when that came out? So that was
89 or like 91. It was like
a
right
long gap between
around
the
then.
original Terminator and the sequel. So by the time you got to the sequel, you know, you had seen Arnold die at the end of that as the Terminator, and he's reaching for Sarah and all the shit, right? And then you find out that Kyle is his fucking dad and everything like that. And then you realize in the second Terminator, they flipped it. And they're like, we're going to make fucking Arnold awesome. He's going to be the goddamn hero of this. And it works. I don't know that I would say those are comparable in terms of one's better than the other. They're completely different things to me. And I don't necessarily think that it's a continuation in the same tradition.
The reason why I walked down this path is because apparently they've greenlight a second movie, a sequel to Heat. But it's going to be more. Hold on, Alan. Hear me out.
Heat?
It's going to be a prequel.
The Michael Mann movie?
Yeah, the Michael Mann movie with De Niro and Pacino.
That came out 30 fucking years ago.
It's a prequel based on Val Kilmer's character.
Val Kilmer's dead in real life.
I know that. I know
you know that. I just mean,
What?
like, why are we doing this?
But they're telling the prequel from his character's point of view. And my concern is Heat, I would argue, was one of the best movies of that decade. You could make an argument it's in the top 1,500 movies ever made because the story is so good. The quality of, like, here's how I judge all movies. When the movie stops being a movie and feels like it's real, like I forgot I was watching a movie, that to me is what a great movie is, and Heat is that. To me.
It's one of the greatest movies.
I don't want the classics touched. So that's why I asked the question, because if you're going to do a sequel, very rarely does the sequel outdo the original. And I just gave you 4, and you guys agreed on 3 of them. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know how I feel about Heat.
I know how I feel about it.
about how he felt about the fact that they remade The Naked Gun. When I sent him the picture of that, and I
didn't see it, but I wasn't mad at it. I didn't see it, but I wasn't mad at it.
You were mad at it. You should have been mad at it.
No, the reason why I wasn't mad was because Liam Neeson I bought as Frank Drebin. And once I could buy him as Frank Drebin, and then when they got Pamela to be Priscilla, I was like, you know what? I'm in. I haven't seen it yet, but I was in. Understanding that it's not, it's, hold on. Let me say this. If OJ could have been in the movie, it would have made it. It would have made it.
Fuck off.
In the movie. I'm sorry.
Get Sharon Moore on the phone.
Don't stop there. Get Diddy too.
Hold on.
Get Diddy too. Don't stop there.
I was in the theater like 8 or 9 months ago, and I saw the poster for this Naked Gun with Liam Neeson. I sent it to Alan. Took a picture of it to AMC. And I was like, yeah, what the fuck is this? Like, what are we doing here? Like, we can't just remake everything because we just think we want to. And then we certainly can't cast fucking Liam Neeson and fucking Leslie Nielsen's. That was Leslie Nielsen's job. His whole life was Frank fucking Drebin.
Here's why Liam Neeson works. If Liam Neeson can go to a foreign country and kill 75 people and bring his daughter back and not get arrested, why can't he be Frank Drebin?
It's not the
Because
same thing.
there is no scenario in which a man goes to Europe and kills 75 people and brings his daughter back and goes back to his regular life.
That body count's high. I think he killed like maybe 15.
Listen, I'm just talking about the first Taken movie. I'm not talking.
I know. Well,
Of them.
the second one, he was kidnapped, wasn't he? When his wife was kidnapped.
It was done after the first one. Like, what the fuck do you mean? You could just listen. Listen. I got to be careful about how I say this because I saw this guy tell this joke one day, and it was funny. It was this black guy. He was like, "Batman is a conservative's wet dream because he has access to government contracts and he gets to go out and beat up the poor at night."
Yeah, that's right. That's hilarious. But
And
he also was mentally ill Joker and the Penguin.
And ever since I heard that, when I look at Taken, I'm like, yeah, this is like a wet dream to be able to go over to another country, kill 75 people, and come out as the hero. And I don't have to answer to nobody. Like, nothing. Now, of course, it's a movie. I get it's a movie. It's not real. But there are still people that believe in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny.
Listen, we got to talk about movies next time because this is my lane right here. We're into some shit I like to talk about. You know?
Okay.
I mean,
real quick, and then we'll end on this. What's the last good movie you saw?
Ooh, let me think about this. I'll tell you what it is. The last good movie I saw.
Yep.
Michael Mann, The Thief.
I haven't heard that.
So I'd always heard about it. It was on Amazon Prime. It popped up in my recommendations. I hardly ever go to Prime for anything because it has commercials now. I don't pay to get rid of them. But it was Michael Mann's either first or second movie, and James Caan is the lead in it. And I'm gonna say it was 81 or 82 when it came out, but it is a spiritual predecessor to Heat. So if you find this movie called The Thief with James Caan, watch it. It's the same fucking music like that was in Heat. Like it's the same vibe, the same night, the way he shoots the movies. Like there's a whole noir thing that he has.
It feels because when I think about Heat, I also think about when Michael Mann did the Miami Vice movie.
That was a good movie. That was a great movie. I thought he did great with that.
I didn't like that movie, but I liked it because it was gritty.
Yes, that's Michael Mann. Yeah.
Having been to Miami a handful of times, there's a side of Miami that everybody sees, and there's a side of Miami that nobody sees. And he took you to the side of Miami that nobody like. It felt raw and authentic.
Listen, I believe you. Yeah.
I've heard he's bringing Miami Vice back with Michael B. Jordan and Glenn Powell. They're going to redo Glenn Powell. Does
he have to be in everything? He's kind of like Pedro Pascal, but even
no. You know who he is? The first time I saw Ryan Reynolds in National Lampoon's Van Wilder, my first thought was they're going to force this guy on me. They're going to force me to go watch movies with this
Alan
man.
Doesn't like Ryan Reynolds.
And ever since then, with the exception of Deadpool, which is the greatest comic book character movie ever,
those are fantastic.
Nothing tops Deadpool. And listen, I'll take him in all forms. Fox, Disney, doesn't matter. I'll take Deadpool over every character you could put in front of me. But Ryan Reynolds is a guy I feel like they forced on me.
Yeah, well, he kind of did. That's what Hollywood does. Hollywood does that. So,
Al, last good movie you saw, then we'll end on this.
Well, I'm going to shift it a little, just because with two young kids, I'm a fairly mainstream guy. The movie Fall. We actually, as a family, watched it a few years ago.
I know this movie.
It's about some thrill seekers who climb this tower in, I think is it Texas or Oklahoma?
Arizona or somewhere out in
it's something like
West.
that.
Yes, I've seen it.
And Dennis, when this movie was over, I was fucking exhausted.
He's not wrong. I've seen it a couple of times. My daughters love it. They think it's
Yeah,
so.
mine do too. It
Yeah.
is. I mean,
It's
but
small.
it's different. That's why I wanted to throw it out there because it's a different kind of watch.
It really
Okay.
is. I mean, it's a. Did you ever see the guy that I can't think of his name, but he's Eric Honold or something. He's a free climber. Did you ever see him? He climbed El Capitan free a few years ago. They made a documentary about it, and he's an amazing guy. It's that genre. It's climbing, free
Okay.
climb, and it will sit there. And when you watch the documentary of the guy doing El Capitan, your body does a thing where it feels like it starts getting sweaty palms. You start getting nervous. That's
Yeah.
what this movie Fall is. It's that over and
The
over.
Thief
Yeah.
and Fall. All
For
right.
about 90 minutes. The Thief, I don't even know if it's still on Amazon Prime or not, but look for it. It's James Caan. I mean, he delivers some really good fucking dialogue in this movie. Like, some of the best dialogue I've ever seen James Caan do. And it's a movie about a guy that's kind of like, I don't know, he's kind of like the character in Heat, De Niro's character. He's kind of like that. Like, independent, kind of works on his own, but has a little crew, whatever. It's good.
Okay. So I will end on this. I have two for you. One's not a movie, one's a documentary, and the other one's a movie. So the documentary is the Diddy doc.
On Netflix, and I haven't watched it.
Let me just couch this by saying there's a lot of it I know. There's a lot of it that I think they got wrong. There's parts of it I think they got wrong. Specifically, they sort of insinuate that Puffy had Tupac shot in New York in the studio when B.I.G. is upstairs, tells him to come upstairs, and then the elevator opens and he gets popped in the whole nine. That has nothing to do with Puffy. That has everything to do with Haitian Jack and these dudes that Tupac was involved in that were also tied to the sexual assault case that he got convicted of in New York. Like that has nothing to do with that. But that, I text my brother halfway through the second episode because there's 4. And I said, if you didn't hate him before, you hate him now. And then it just progressively got worse. And my conclusion at the end was if you have daughters, you can't let them go into the music industry. That's just a complete non-starter given all that. But the last good movie I saw, House of Dynamite. So House of Dynamite is on Netflix, and the premise of the movie is America it's a normal day. And then all of a sudden, a nuclear warhead is launched at America, and we have no idea where it came from. And they show you different points of view. So they show you the people in Alaska who were tracking it first. They show you the Defense Department. They show you advisors. They show you Secretary of Defense. They show you the president. They show all their perspectives. So you start the movie with one perspective, and then the movie switches. Same premise, someone else's perspective. And they constantly switch it. So you start to get to see what the protocol is if this were to happen. The acting in is really good. It surprised me who the president was. I won't give it away because I was like, oh, wait, you're the president? Like, oh, okay. I'll just say, if you're the president, then you could also be James Bond. But that's another story for another day. That movie was really good. And the person who directed the movie is James Cameron's ex-wife. It's Catherine Bigelow. So if you've seen The Hurt Locker,
I've seen that.
If you've seen The Hurt Locker, it approaches that level in terms of quality of a movie.
Okay.
Like, it's on that level of The Hurt Locker. And The Hurt Locker, when I saw it, The Hurt Locker, again, is one of those movies where it stopped being a movie. It was so real and so raw and so authentic, I forgot I was watching a movie. Like, the first time I had that feeling, if you've ever seen the movie The Siege, that has Bruce Willis, Denzel Washington, Annette Bening, there's CIA, FBI, there's a terrorist cell in New York, they're choking boroughs off, they got tanks going down avenues, like, And this is all like pre 9/11.
Yes, it
So like
was.
first time I saw that movie, I was like, whoa, this stopped being a movie at some point. And then 9/11 happened, and all of a sudden it became real. So anyway, House of Dynamite, worth your time. Same as The Thief, same as Fall, same as the Diddy Doc. Educate yourselves, people. And with that, I think we have run the 3-man weave, which is always my favorite drill in basketball.
Brian tonight.
We did. He couldn't make it, unfortunately. So shout out to him. He's gonna have to watch this and feel sad about himself. But we haven't done this in a while, so it was good to do it with you guys again. We need to do this again soon. So I would tell everybody watching, send us some topics, not tacos or tacos. Send us some topics.
Send me tacos too.
Tacos. I love tacos.
Steak tacos, or if you make birria, listen. Listen, there's a little place I go to over at Little Grand, over in Grandview. They got a little
dip
spot in there.
Yeah.
Ooh, the first bite takes me exactly where I want to be, and they dip the shell in it. Oh,
everything. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, isn't it? They put it in like
I love some birria. So on that,
beautiful.
I thank you guys more than I could ever express. Thank you guys for jumping on. Good time. We'll do this again soon. We will not spend this many months apart. We'll do it again. A lot going on. We just want to say, just to sort of recap, the Michigan thing is sad, but Sharon Moore did it to himself. But best of luck to his wife and his kids and all of that. But you did it to yourself, bro. And, we want Michigan to be good. Like, I can't stress that enough. I'm not an anti-Michigan guy. I want Michigan to be great. We need you to be great. So please, 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 please hire the right person, because it was special. It was special, and that game is important. And I'll just leave you guys with this. When the Big Ten was talking about taking this equity money, it was USC and Michigan that stood up and said, absolutely not. This is effectively a payday loan. This is bullshit. We're not doing it. And the equity, or it really wasn't like private equity. It was like California pension system. They said, we're not doing it unless everybody's on. Okay, cool. We don't need to, y'all don't need to take that money. Like, just don't do that. Just don't, college is okay. You don't need to take that money.
You got enough money. Obviously.
Exactly the point. So with that, I thank you guys. We'll do this again real soon with different clothes, of course, because listen, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. If it's bacon, pray to your God. And with that, we'll holler at you guys later. Appreciate you guys.
Have fun, everybody.